The night of prom was supposed to be magical, a night where dreams came true, where memories were made, and where even the quietest girl could shine if given the chance. But for Emily, a hard-working farm girl who had always been mocked for her simple clothes and humble lifestyle, prom quickly turned into the most humiliating night of her life. She had poured her heart into preparing a dress she stitched together with her own hands. Every thread carried the hope that maybe, just maybe, she could finally feel like she belonged. But what happened that night would change her forever, and not in the way her bullies expected. Emily wasn't like the other girls at school. While most of them spent their evenings at malls, beauty salons, and cafes, Emily spent hers in the fields, helping her father feed the animals, repairing fences, or carrying heavy hay bales. She never complained. She loved her life, but she couldn't deny the longing she felt when she saw her classmates laughing together, wearing the latest fashion, and talking about their weekend adventures. Prom was her one chance to step into their world. She saved up money from selling eggs and fresh vegetables at the local market, and with her grandmother's help, she designed a dress from old fabric scraps. It wasn't perfect, but it was beautiful to her. When Emily finally entered the prom hall, all eyes turned. She didn't have glittering jewels, designer heels, or a sparkling gown, but she carried herself with a quiet grace that made some people stop and admire her. Others, however, smirked. Among them were the bullies who had tormented her since middle school, Rachel and her group of friends. They had been waiting for a moment like this, a chance to put Emily back in her place. It started when Emily gathered the courage to ask a boy she admired, Jason, for a dance. Her heart pounded as she walked across the floor. Jason, kind at heart, gave her a gentle smile, but before he could even respond, Rachel interrupted with a cruel laugh. "Are you serious, farm girl? Do you really think you can dance with him in that ragged tablecloth you call a dress?" The laughter that followed pierced Emily like knives. Her face burned, her hands trembled, but she stood frozen in the spotlight of shame. Rachel wasn't finished. Fueled by the attention, she and her friends circled Emily, making loud comments about the way she looked, her hair, her shoes, her every flaw. And then, in one swift and merciless move, they grabbed at her dress and ripped it. The sound of tearing fabric echoed in the hall, followed by gasps. Emily stood there, clutching the ruined pieces of the dress she had worked so hard to make. Tears welled in her eyes, but something inside her snapped. For years, Emily had endured the whispers, the insults, the laughter. She had stayed silent, believing she wasn't strong enough to fight back. But all those years of carrying heavy buckets, pushing plows, and training in secret martial arts classes at a local gym her father signed her up for had built more than just muscles, it had built resilience, patience, and power. That night, when Rachel sneered and tried to shove her again, Emily didn't step back. Instead, she moved with precision and unleashed a roundhouse kick so swift, so powerful, that Rachel went stumbling back, crashing into the snack table. The room went silent. No one expected it. The shy farm girl, the one everyone underestimated, stood tall with fire in her eyes. Her voice, steady and strong, cut through the silence. "I may wear a dress I stitched myself, but I will never let anyone rip apart my dignity again." The bullies, stunned and embarrassed, scrambled away. Even Jason, who had stood awkwardly before, now looked at Emily with newfound respect. But the real challenge wasn't just standing up to the bullies, it was facing the entire room. Emily thought everyone would laugh even harder, or perhaps turn against her for causing a scene. Instead, something surprising happened. A few students started clapping. Then more joined in. The applause grew until the hall echoed with it. For the first time, Emily felt seen, not for what she lacked, but for the courage she carried. From that night on, things changed. Rachel and her friends never dared to bother her again. Jason did end up asking her to dance, not out of pity but because he genuinely admired her strength. Emily learned that her worth had never depended on fitting in, wearing the perfect dress, or gaining approval from shallow voices. Her worth was in her character, her hard work, and her courage to stand up when it mattered most. Years later, Emily would look back on that night not with bitterness but with pride. It was the night she discovered her voice, the night she realized that bullies only have power if you let them, and the night she proved to herself that strength isn't about fists or kicks, it's about standing tall when the world tries to tear you down. And for everyone who heard her story, it became an unforgettable reminder: never underestimate the quiet ones, because when pushed too far, they just might shock the world.